the Race to Alaska podcast. I'm Jesse, the race boss, and I want to thank you for listening. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for being a part of the 2026 season. We are over the moon to present to you this coming year's race. It's going to be the biggest one ever, folks. We have had a record-breaking application season, so much so that we are shutting it down early. Might even be shut down by the time you hear this. It's going to be huge, so stay tuned on this podcast. We're going to try to get it out weekly, but no promises. With this many teams, it's going to be a struggle to get you every interview possible, but we're going to do our best. For that, I'm bringing in a parade of past Race to Alaska faces. People you know, people you might not know, people who make the race run, and especially a lot of past racers to do the interviews. Because, hey, they know way more about the race than I do. First up, I've got Miss Chelsea Myers. She raced back in 2024 with her husband, Mark, and team Only Lovers Left Alive aboard their Santa Cruz 27. She will be talking with Team Fly Girls. What kind of teams are you most interested in talking to?
You know, I love the groups that are like relationship driven and that are on like a little self-discovery mission. I'm not really interested in anyone who's even got a glimmer of hope of winning.
Well, maybe we'll stick you with one of those teams just for fun to see if
oh God,
if we can't continue to keep you growing, Chelsea Myers. But actually, this first team that we put you with actually seems to have really fit the bill. Fly Girls.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're adorable. What a fantastic group of women, and they are so diverse. You know, in age, it's fascinating. And they're really good friends. You just see these intergenerational relationships on this race. And I think that's like such a beautiful thing to be able to highlight. And I think that the number of skydives that they have amongst them is like world record setting.
28,000 jumps out of airplanes between the five of them.
I was going to look it up and I forgot to.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. Yeah, you had a great chat with them. So we'll listen to that now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsea, and it is a delight to have a little bit of time to get to know you all and about your R2AK ambitions. And as someone who definitely did R2AK with 6 weeks of prep, y'all have stacked resumes. So I want like a quick 20-second intro from each of you on why you are extremely equipped to do this race together. Chris, you want to start?
Oh my gosh. Okay. And Chelsea, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. We're really honored.
Well, glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you. So I have been sailing in the Pacific Northwest for over 35 years. I've done the inside of Vancouver Island 6 times, mostly with my father in his 37.5 Hunter, but also in the last 3 years on a Hunter 44. So I've never wanted to do a sailing race because there's too many rules. And I went to the Ruckus last year and absolutely fell in love with the idea of doing this race and the people and the excitement and all the creativity around their different boats. And I went, I've got to do this.
Betsy, how did you get involved?
I knew about the race because I had seen, there's a movie called Go Fast, Go North that was on Prime for like, I don't know, 3 weeks, or I don't know how long it was on Prime. It's not anymore. But I caught it while it was there. And I was like, oh my God, these people are like, these are my people. How cool that a race like that exists. And like, I didn't really think any more about it after that. Because I live in, the Midwest, it's far away. And getting my own boat out there that'd be a long sail through the Panama Canal. So, so I kind of didn't think about it. And then Chris, one day we were in a Zoom meeting together and she said, "Hey, Bets, hang out for a second, will you? I have a question for you. And I was like, oh, yeah, no problem. And she says, have you heard of the race to Allah? And I was like, I am in. Yes, let's do it. So it was, it's a bad idea, but it's like the best possible kind of bad idea. So it was an easy yes for me.
Okay, so how did you find the rest of the crew? How'd this come together?
So Marnie was the next one. So we're going to let her tell her part of the story.
So I don't have too much sailing experience, but Chris and Betsy, we know each other from the parachute industry, and we went on a rafting trip that Chris so beautifully planned. And her and Betsy were talking about Race to Alaska, and I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And they explained it, motors, thrill seeking, and I was like, "I'm doing that." And they were like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm in. I'm in." I mean, we've all made careers out of this. We're thrill junkies. So I was like, what the hey? Let's do it. Here we are.
Excellent. Okay, so that makes three. There's five of you.
So I was the next one. We were in the car riding to the sailboat on last May, and she had mentioned about this race that she was going to do, and I was thinking to myself, boy, I hope they have another room for another person because it would be a challenge that I would enjoy. I've done many world records, and this is right up my alley for endurance and um, different experience other than flying airplanes and jumping out of them. Actually being on the water and sailing a boat with our own propulsion system. So I was in for it, but I had no idea what I was up against and what it was all about until I came back and she explained to us for like 3 days while we were out sailing. So then, so she explained everything to us, and then we went back and looked on the YouTube, and I was even more excited than I was when I signed up for it. So I'm all in at 100%. And the biggest thing is the team that we have. I think we've got 5 really great women that can really work together well as a team. And my whole life, being in the Army and being in the airlines, I've done nothing but worked with teams. So I just get to do another adventure record attempt with another team.
Beautiful. All right, Lindy, what you got?
Well, I was in that same vehicle in the back seat with Cheryl when Chris was in the front seat talking about this. And as she's explaining a little bit about it, all of a sudden Cheryl jumped in and goes, "Oh, I'd love to do that." And Chris whipped her head around. She goes, "You would?" And she goes, "Yeah, you bet." Chris goes, "Oh, that would be so great, Sternsy." And so now they're palling and oh God, this is going. And I'm sitting there and I'm a Minnesota gal. I've grown up and around water. It's my thing. I'm a avid canoeist. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I should say something because I don't know if they can only have 4. And if I bring it up now, it's going to be, "Oh, I'm sorry, Lindy, but Cheryl took the last spot." And so I kind of kept quiet. And then I'm thinking, well, Cheryl knows my love. So why doesn't she bring it up for me? And then just when I thought that, Cheryl goes, "Well, Lindy, wouldn't you want to do this too?" And I said, "Hell yes, I want to do this." And then Chris goes, "Oh, that's great. The boat holds 5. This is wonderful." So then we were all thrilled and excited, went back to her house, like Cheryl said, learned more about it, watched the videos, and oh my gosh, I've always this is just a test of everything I know about water and being on the water. And, I do the boundary waters every year. I've done it my whole life. And so to be in an environment where you might have to be self-reliant and work as a team. Also, I was an Army veteran, so team is a lot of where I come from. So yeah, every day I wake up, I start dreaming about it. It hits me during the day, and I just can't wait for June.
Oh, I'm so excited for all five of you. It really is going to be quite an adventure. And yeah, each of you has such an incredible and special background and set of skills. I feel like seriously, your boat is incredible. So I want to know how, in particular, skydiving is the best preparation for R2AK. That feels like y'all together hold a record for quite a number of skydives. Tell me more.
We do. So skydiving is a little crazy, and I think doing this race is a little crazy. It's just when you jump out of airplanes, as much as most of us have, we know how to prepare, we know how to train, we know how to do this, and it's the same mindset. We're not going at this haphazard. Betsy and I are master parachute riggers. Cheryl is a senior parachute rigger. We are responsible to take care of people's lives and pack and maintain their equipment. So we have, all of us in this room have a mindset. Betsy and Marnie and I, we belong to this Parachute Industry Association. And it's a huge group of people, and we get together every 6 months and we talk about problems in the industry, and we break into different teams, and all of us in different ways, we work together. Cheryl Stearns and I, we've been on 4 U.S. teams together. So we understand the preparation and what you need to do to safely do this. It's no different than being able to safely jump out of an airplane. If you go at this haphazardly, if you go at skydiving haphazardly, it's not going to end well.
We live in a world of zero tolerance. I mean, I do and they do for the aviation side and for the parachuting side. If you don't respect the rules, the laws, everything that you're supposed to respect, then it ends up in injury, death, or whatever. And we're in the same category here for sailing. We have to take this as our skydiving, as our flying of zero tolerance, full preparation, full safety, and full proper decision making, problem solving. And that's where all of it comes together, and where our whole team has that same deal with safety of everything. Safety comes first. That is number one out there for us for our whole life. That's why we've lived to our ages that we've lived to, you know, so I think that's where we come in as a strong team here, because we're not crazy people out there. Yeah, the race isn't crazy. It's funny, it's this, it's that, but the bottom line is it's very serious. Otherwise, I mean, you got to have some joy in it. It can't be full, but you got to have you got to have the seriousness in it also.
Yeah, you've all done a lot of crazy stuff, and y'all are still here, ready to do the next kind of big wild one.
You have to be crazy to jump out of a perfect airplane, but you also have to be crazy to do this race. Well,
Yeah.
that's what we have in common. We're all nuts.
Well, I would add that, working as a full-time parachute rigger for really the better part of 2 decades, I really thought of myself as somebody that skydivers relied on to make their crazy idea safe, or as safe as it possibly could be.
Mm-hmm.
So I still look at that job as, it's not just making sure that the gear is in good working order. It's also educating the jumper about the gear, explaining to them why there's a maintenance interval that they have to follow. It's not just because I want them to give me $75 every 180 days, although I do. Anyone out there, please send me $75. You'll be safer.
I love it.
Donate now.
So I feel like with the number of parachutes you've packed, I imagine you might be spinnaker queens. Tell me about your kite inventory.
Actually, we will have one asymmetrical, and that's it. We are not going to go crazy with a whole bunch of different kites or jibs or Genoas. We want to do this safely. We also have one furled Genoa, 135%, and we can furl it down to whatever we want. So I don't want people having to go forward in questionable conditions. And again, it comes back to we want to be safe. We want to make good decisions. We don't want to put people in precarious situations. And when you need to change out a head sail or take down your kite because the winds are increasing, that's when you don't want people up front. So we're going with limited sale inventory. And again, we're not racers. We don't need half a dozen or 8 different sales to do this race.
I feel like with this level of preparation, where the hell are you not prepared? What's gonna fall apart on this race? Give me some predictions.
I'm really hoping it's not the rudder. I'm trying to find a spare rudder. We have a Hobie 33 with a drop keel to it. So I'm on a Hobie 33 site on Facebook and asking everybody what they do to seal everything up. I mean, we've done so much research. It's absolutely ridiculous. We're trying to think of everything that we possibly can. I've talked with several of the racers and, said, hey, what was your shortcomings? What, if you had to do it again, what would you do different? Or what didn't you bring that you wished you had bring? And, we're learning a lot. We're learning as much as we can. And gosh, we really appreciate the experience that people are sharing with us to help us. It's an amazing group of people.
It absolutely is. I feel like one of the number one things about the race is that community.
Yeah.
Kindness and enthusiasm, and just everybody's looking out for everybody else. You're stepping into like one wildly wonderful community. So welcome to that. So I'm curious about your boat. Tell me a little bit about her. She's a Hobie.
Hobie 33.
How'd she come into your life? And tell me a little bit about her personality.
She is still sitting in my driveway right now. At the Blazer party, I spoke with over 12 people about what boat they would recommend. And hands down, people were recommending the Hobie 33. So I came away from that and I started looking for Hobie 33. And I found one in Spokane and I went over and I bought it. Drove over the mountains and bought it and drove back the same day. And had to put a tarp under her for about 3 months, or over her for about 3 months. And March of this year, took the tarp off and started doing a full inspection on it. And there was more wrong with her than we thought. And yeah, she spent about 5 weeks at Northwest Rigging up here in Anacortes. And they had to replace the safety lines, new running rigging, new standing rigging. Oh, the lines were completely rotted. They were so bad. And Quantum Sails worked with us and are making us new sails. So she's had kind of a facelift. My husband is just finishing doing all the rewiring. We're putting in a complete new navigation system in it. She had nothing, including a Garmin Windex. There was nothing on the boat. She was a skeleton, and her personality is really coming into being.
She's hot. She's sexy. She's a sexy boat.
Yeah, she is sexy. She's hot.
She's gonna be.
That's fabulous. I feel like, Marnie, you said that you saw R2AK as a mix of pain and teamwork. How much pain do you think there will be? How much pedaling are you anticipating doing on the back of that boat?
A lot. I hope. I hope, because I have to bring something to the team,
You're the cyclist, right?
I am. It's a big hobby of mine. Definitely a lot of stress relieving. When I go home, I know if I'm on the bike, it's not stressful. It's numbs my mind. But I don't even think the pedaling is going to be hard. I think that, I hate when my feet get cold. Can't sleep when your feet are cold. It's hard. So I'm not looking forward to that. I think that's going to be the most painful thing. I'm so pumped to the cycle.
I want to hear a little bit about what teamwork means. Cheryl, you made some comments about, how central that is. And, it sounds like you've spent a lot of time building team, together, the five of you, and building kind of trust in that. So talk a little bit about, what that's going to mean on this trip.
Well, the first thing is everybody needs to know everybody's skill or weakness or strength. And then that way we fill in where they're weak or they fill in, where it's kind of like a marriage, you've got the best of this and the best of that. And you might be weak here, but then the other person fills in. So if you've got a really good team, you don't really need to say too many words to anybody because everybody knows what needs to be done and said without saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's not very, that might be in the beginning, but when you're working really close and really as a really good team, there are no words. You're just working as a
Yeah.
fine tuned, lubed chain out there that works very well. And that's what's going to get us through of the trust we have for each other, and we know the skills. And if we know someone's weak, we don't put them in that spot to make them weaker or lose some sort of confidence that they might lose because you stuck me over here where I shouldn't have been stuck. So you try to work that, but that's where we'll be finding out each other's strength and weaknesses and what weaknesses they have, try to build them up, so they don't have that weakness there and they can still fill in where we need to fill them in. So that's how it'll work. And
I would like to add, though, communication is so critical. And I think what we've demonstrated to each other so far is if somebody has anything, we put it out there to each other and we discuss it. And then somebody comes up with an answer or we come up with a solution. So I don't feel that there's anything that I don't trust these people if I bring up to them or want to talk about that I'm going to get thrown down or dismissed. So I think that communication is just going to continue to be as good as it is. And that for me is a part of critical teamwork.
Yeah, it was absolutely lovely, Lindy. Just like it seems like the more you all can be super transparent and honest with one another and then communicate about, the things that are coming up, the better. Good foundation.
Definitely. Yeah. This is, the girls have said it, but this is an amazing group of women, and we get along so well. We all bring something different to the table, and we respect each other. And I think that goes a long way towards making a cohesive team.
What's most daunting other than cold feet?
I think I'm hoping, this is what I'm hoping with all the supplies of our equipment that we have, the knowledge we've gotten out there from everybody that has done this before. I'm hoping we are well prepared, that we don't get cold, that we've got the proper gear, the proper equipment. And if we do slightly get cold, we get ourselves out of that situation and warmed up before we get ourselves into a physical issue that can't be resolved, where you get hyperthermia or something. Now you're getting into a position we shouldn't have gotten there. So hopefully we have the knowledge, know-how, equipment, and decision making and everything to not get us into that situation. That's what I'm looking for.
Having sailed up here for so many years, I really hope we don't have day after day after day of rain. Because that can just get that can get old. It really can.
Yeah, what I personally find most daunting is just the tidal currents, because obviously, Lake Michigan doesn't have a lot of those. We've got slow currents that you kind of don't even need to bother with unless you wonder why you keep having to adjust heading. But yeah, so because I have no experience with those, that is my number one worry.
Yeah, and they are nothing to mess with. That's a fair worry, Betsy.
That's what I hear. Now I'm even more worried.
I've thought about that too, Betsy.
You got this, girl.
And initially that was my major concern were the whirlpools and getting through the narrows. But I think somewhere in my mind, I really trust Chris and I trust you, and you two are the most experienced. And so I'm just putting my help. You guys are going to make those big decisions. And of course, as Chris says, one person veto power. So I've put that aside because we'll face that when we get there, and then we'll make the best decision and move on. I think I'm more concerned with something like a log poking a hole in the hull, or some weird thing that just happens.
Yeah.
And
It's a solid fear.
I do have bear spray I'll bring, so
We haven't addressed the bears yet. That is true.
Yeah.
I love it. So you all seem like a tight ship. I want to know, who is the loose cannon? Which one of you?
what? Loose cannon?
I don't think
No
we
loose
have
cannon?
one. I don't think we have one.
Yeah, I
Who's
actually don't think we do either.
who's in charge of
I,
laughs?
I swear a lot, so I might be the sweariest team member.
Well, I can throw out a string along.
I tend to curse like a sailor.
We've been in the
Yeah.
military 30 years. We all know how to curse.
Good point. Good point.
So I hear that there are some parachuting insults. So motivational skydiving insults. What should we expect to hear off of your boat?
Oh, get in or go in is one you might hear from me. It means, so if you're on a formation jump, which is one where there's like a bunch of people like linking up in free fall, your goal is to get into the formation. And should you fail at that, then just don't bother pulling your ripcord.
All right. Well, what else should I know about you and your team, Chris?
We are so excited. We really are. We're going to have a lot of fun at the marinas that we're at Port Townsend and Victoria. Our boat will be sporting a couple of flags, so you'll be able to find us readily. We're going to have fun, and we're going to do this race the very, very best that we can, and we are going to be very prepared.
I was going to say we're going to have. I'm going to ditto that on you because we're going to have a lot of fun, but we're going to be very serious too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes. I think you'll be able to hear us coming. Either because we're going to be laughing so hard or because I'm singing Ride of the Valkyries at whatever boat we're about to pass.
I feel like Team Fly Girls is angling for $10,000 actually right here.
You know,
you never know what could happen.
I kind of like the idea of us having the steak knives that we, ship to each other for special occasions and holidays, like the Stanley Cup, like.
You always say anything we compete in the parachuting world, you get so close to where you can win, and then you're looking at it, oh, I can win this, and then, or I've got this, but you haven't gotten it until the fat lady sings, as we always say. But the thing is, the whole thing about competition I've learned in 53 years of competing, I cannot control anybody else is their ability or their skill. I can only control mine. And it also becomes a mental game. So this is where we as a team mentally can pull each other up by the bootstraps and keep on trucking and cross that finish line, laughing, singing, whatever we do, but we can only control what we're able to do. So yes, we're all out to so-called win the race. It would be great, be nice, but we're also looking to finish superbly, safely, and having a great time, and come home and represent our sponsors very well.
All right, beautiful women. This has been absolutely a delight, and I look forward to hanging out with you on the dock in Port Townsend pre-race.
I have one I have one question for you, Miss Chelsea. What is some advice that you can give us?
Oh my gosh. I think my best advice is you can only be exactly where you are. No regrets. There's nothing to do but keep on moving forward. So you make the decision and miss getting out Port Lear Pass because the tides have turned. That's okay. It doesn't matter. You are exactly where you are.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. This was exciting.
I'm so excited for this team. You guys are awesome, and it's a delight to be able to spend a little time to get to know you. So go fast, be safe.
All right.
See you on the docks.
Damn. What a good interview this year.
Oh, hell yeah. Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great first episode.
Who's going up next?
Who's going off next? Well, I had a chance to chat with what would you say is the wildest, dumbest, stupidest way to do Race to Alaska?
Maybe on a floaty toy shaped like a donut.
Oh, that's pretty good. You're right. I didn't lure you in to where you were going to guess it. But floaty toy is pretty good because I recently bought a stand-up paddleboard at Costco, and you might call that a floaty toy. But Eric Strickler has a fancy touring stand-up paddleboard that he recently purchased actually from Peter Allen, who made attempts in 2024 and 2023. And so Eric Strickler, Team Apple Bottom Boy. You know, I didn't ask him about his team name. We'll have to do a follow-up.
I mean, that is the biggest question I have about this. Apple bottom boy?
Listeners, I'm sorry. It's I'm a little rusty on the interview skills. We'll get better as the season goes on. Don't worry. Yeah, talk to Eric, and let's listen to that. It's coming up. You've been accepted as, so far, the only stand-up paddleboarder to apply to 2026.
Oh boy.
Why do you think you're the only one so far?
Because I'm ambitious and I just wanted to get my registration out of the way.
Okay, so you're thinking there's going to be more. You're just the first.
I don't know. In talking to Peter Allen, he said there was another fellow who might register from up in Canada somewhere, but yeah, I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like a reasonable way to do the race. So,
no, definitely not.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect there to be that many.
I didn't go through and tally actually how many have attempted in the past, but you know, there's several. People have tried it, and obviously only one person, Carl Kruger, has ever actually done it, and he beat a bunch of sailboats while he did it. It was a pretty amazing thing, and to this day, no one else has done it. Peter Allen has tried it twice. He's done really well, but he hasn't made it the whole way. What do you think? What do you think Carl did different that got him all the way to the finish line that you might try to emulate?
Well, I've chatted with Carl. I mean, he seems like a pretty wild and crazy machine of a man. The one line that stood out to me from our exchange was, Eric, I did not bring any real food, just jet fuel. And I think what he meant was like everything was in packets and protein powders. And I don't really want to do that. That sounds like pretty miserable to me. I'm very aware of the fact that like every single ounce that I put on the paddleboard is another ounce that I have to haul through the water. So I'm trying to do my best to really optimize like every single aspect of like all the systems that I have, so there's very little excess weight and equipment.
Yeah, it's like a huge logistical undertaking. You've got no extra space. You've just got your board, and I imagine some deck bags, and that's it. So I think that a lot of people, including myself, have never gone on a SUP expedition done some like expedition kayaking, but how much of your planning has to go into that sort of logistical space rather than just putting in miles on the board?
I almost feel like it's like 75-25, like planning and equipment, and then like the 25% the fitness. I don't know. In my head, I'm like thinking about when I did a big portion of the Appalachian Trail, and I started doing 15 miles or 18 miles, and then I got up to like 20 or 25 miles, and it felt really comfortable.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm training as much as I can, but part of me is like, well, to get like 35 to 40 plus miles every single day, I can't do that in training. I can't.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
have the
only
time.
train that. You can only do that while you're doing. Actually, I hiked a big chunk of the Pacific Crest, and I found that like, yeah, the first day is 20 miles. The last day I hiked was 35, and you never can train for that. You have to just
Yeah,
be in pain for the
yeah,
first period of time until your body adapts. How many miles do you run before you actually start the marathon? What
right.
do you think is going to be your longest like sup trip before you start the actual race?
I mean, I'm gonna try and I'm doing the 70-48 as
Hmm.
a little like a little primer.
Just a little primer.
Yeah, just a little primer. I don't think there's gonna be many times or any times unless conditions are just like so perfect that I'll be paddling 70 miles in a row
Mhm.
during R2AK before taking a rest or sleeping for a significant chunk of time. But I'll probably try and train at least like a 50-mile day.
Hmm.
I know that was Carl's goal every day. In doing the math, I pretty much have to hit like 33 to 35 miles every single day, and that's without any weather days where I might be doing, a few miles or no miles or so. I think I'm going to make my goal around 40 and strive for more, but try and get at least that many in every day.
That's pretty wild. You mentioned that you've done 70-48. You did it 3 times. Remind me, you've supped it and you've kayaked it, right?
Yeah, twice in a sup and once in a kayak.
So I think most people that do 70-48, I mean, it's a sprint for folks, and there's a wide range of people and abilities who do it. Some just trying to finish, some trying to earn the cash prize. But a lot of people, they're just desperately hoping that they can crank out 70 miles in 48 hours, and you're trying to do that every day for 3 weeks.
I guess, yeah. I mean, 35 miles every single 24 hours.
Does are there people in your life trying to stop you from this stupid thing?
Yeah, there are people in my life that tell me, uh, under air quotes, I wish you didn't feel like you had to do that. Um, but they understand that I feel like I do.
Okay, that is of great interest to me because I think it's well known that me, the race boss, I am not myself a competitive person. Uh, which I don't know if that makes me good or bad at this job, but it always fascinates me when there are people that feel compelled to do stuff like this. Like you have done these races that we've put on, you've paddled across the Great Lakes at different times. I mean, I know that you've been, helicopter rescued off of a mountain. By the way, check out uh check out the National Geographic episode. What's it called?
Boy, it's called Hoisted from Hell.
Hoisted from Hell. Yeah, check out on
Yeah.
YouTube, Hoisted from Hell. You'll see Eric on there. Anyway, you just keep putting yourself in all these situations. Uh what's broken, man? What's broken that you're trying to fix?
Oh man. Yeah. I think my mother would love to find like the secret
Mm.
part that's broken, and just try and replace it. So I stop being a broken record, just like spinning around the same extreme adventure
She
loop.
just thinks she's done something wrong at this point. Yeah.
I hope she doesn't blame herself. I don't think she does. But I don't know. I mean, you were an outward bound instructor, right? And
Yeah.
so I feel like one of the things for for that, I did Outward Bound as a high schooler, and I was just a troublemaking high schooler getting into all kinds of trouble. Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, it's kind of like these outdoor challenges gave me a sense of like something to strive for, and you could be a little bit creative with it. Of like, oh, I'm gonna go hike these because I grew up in West Michigan, like hike these dunes from this point to that point, and then we'll, you know, swim across this river, and then we'll drop some bikes over here, and then we'll get some canoes, and it's just fun and a way to explore the great outdoors, um, and then, I mean, I think uh, getting older, it's like provides me a fair amount of focus. Like I'm pretty task oriented person. And so if I have a specific like carrot or goal up there, then it's always fun to try and put all the pieces together to work towards it. And so, um, I've known what I needed to do with my free time for the last like 6 months to a year because it's pretty much taken me 6 months to a year to plan and train for this beast.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I love knowing that there's a whole world of people out there who are just hyper focused on this thing in the future. It's like a target in time. Everyone's going to converge, do this wild thing. All right. Obviously, like stand-up paddleboarding is generally a solo endeavor. Is is the solo aspect of doing this like a big part of it, or are you trying to get away, or are you trying to have some introspective time, or is that just like how you like to adventure the most?
Yeah, I mean, I do a fair amount of things solo, and I feel like I have for quite a few years, and it's honestly mostly just a convenience thing of like my schedule is strange and don't always have somebody to go with, especially I'm working night shift at the moment. So a lot of my paddling training happens like at night, and I can't just message, the local long distance paddleboarding group and be like, oh, anybody want to go paddle? I'm going to be out from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. this morning. I'm trying to do a loop around Bainbridge Island. There's not really any takers.
Hmm.
So, yeah, but doing the 70/48, I've done it with my buddy a few times, and we would have gone at different paces if we weren't paddling together. But I was happier to just paddle the whole thing with him. And so I'm hoping that happens during 70/48. I'd love to paddle with some other folks if we're going at a similar speed and we don't feel like we're holding each other back. I think that would be a lot of fun. And yeah, so I don't know.
Well, not to spill the beans, but it's looking like a pretty banner year for soloists and some human powered teams. So you might have
Mm,
some partners. So I know you spent quite a lot of time on the water here in Puget Sound. You used to work on the Carlin for Sail to Sea Expeditions, and just spent a lot of time out here and in the San Juans. There's a ton of people who come to Race to Alaska having never been anywhere near here. What do you think people would get most surprised about when they come out here?
they're quite stunning. I mean, they're just amazing. Yeah, I mean the beauty would definitely be part of it. But yeah, the currents are also pretty wild. Um, I haven't done that much paddling in like the Chesapeake Bay or other like estuarine areas in the East Coast, a little bit around coastal North Carolina. But yeah, even there, the tides were fluctuating like 3 to 4 feet, maybe 6 feet in a tide
Mhm.
cycle. And out here, you know, like 10 to 20 to plus up further in Alaska. So I think that'll be a big factor, really trying to plan out tides as much as I can and keep an eye on camping and where I can be and if what my plan would be if I had a really good following wind and tide.
Is there any particular spot you're super looking forward to that you've been dreaming about?
Well, haven't really done any of it, so all of it.
How vague. I love it. Now you can tell
Yeah,
me afterwards what the best part was.
yeah. I'm
Further than Clem so you can tell Peter Allen what it looks like north of there.
Here we go. Cape Caution. I'm interested in having read uh, Susan Casey, her book Inside, about kayaking the Inside Passage, and that was a really good book. And she kind of described a bunch of the campsites, and I'm pretty excited about that, and hoping that Cape Caution will not cause me to pause and take too much caution. Although my friend who's a mariner and like drives boats up there, I went through a chart with him, and just his experience of the whole Inside Passage. He said, that place it's called that for a reason. And he kind of like did a little like zoom out with me, and he was like, out to the west, that's Japan over there. So I was like, okay, all right, thanks, Chris.
I'm curious, as a non-stand-up paddleboarder, like I recently purchased a very fancy Costco stand-up paddleboard, like thousands of people do, which actually I love. It's great. It's a great way to get on the water. What the hell is the difference between something like that? I mean, I know there's a difference. I'm being a little cheeky, but like, what is really like some of the big differences between like a recreational board and an expedition board?
Yeah, I I've never been a super like gearhead, so I might be the wrong person to ask in some regard about that, because my mantra has always been like, well, I got this piece of gear, I'm going to do it with this thing. But I knew I had to get a really good board. It can't just go. I did 70/40 on an inflatable one year, and I was like, I can't do that. So it's, I mean, it's super long. It's 17 and a half feet long. It's got the like depressed deck, so you're closer to the water line, so your stability is improved, and it also provides a good place for storage because it's like easy to lash things, and they have a side to kind of hold on to. It's got this V pointed nose. I think it's called a displacement hull, so it kind of like cuts through the water really well. And to a degree, if it's getting like pushed off, the nose pushes against water, and does a little bit of a like sailing hydrofoil thing, I think, and can get you back on track. And it's got a rudder on it, and so I can control the rudder with my left foot, and so I don't have to like augment my paddle stroke at all. I can just focus on doing like good, powerful forward strokes instead of like putting a little angle to my forward strokes to keep myself going straight. So you get a little bit more forward momentum with that. And it's super light. I mean, it's all carbon. It's lighter. It's definitely lighter than the 17-foot sea kayak I used for 70/48 last year. It's pretty snazzy.
What do you think comes after Race to Alaska?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. Keep taking on other life challenges. Yep, bigger and bigger things.
Okay. From here on out, we just want to see what you do. And it's a bummer that we're still like 6 months out from the race, that it's going to be a hot minute before we get to see you do it. But do you have some active like social media things maybe people can check out?
Yeah, I don't put a ton out there, but I have an Instagram, Strickler76, and put up some stories and some posts about paddling and training, and saw a bunch of whales outside north of Orcas Island the other week when I was training. That was
Nice.
fantastic. So I actually may do a little bit of camping later this week, although this atmospheric river in like 30-degree temperatures are making me reconsider a little bit.
These are great training conditions right here. Anyone who's listening who wants to know what it is we're looking for in our adventure resumes is that when you see an atmospheric river in late December, you think, oh, I should get out in there. Yeah, I should get out in there. All right, Eric, thanks for hanging out. Looking forward to seeing you in June.
Yeah, thanks for building the stoke and putting on the race. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that's Eric, and we'll be seeing more from him. And everybody out there, I hope will cross your fingers that we finally get our second stand-up paddleboarder in Ketchikan. Peter Allen made it as far as Klemtu in 2023, which is damn close. We've still yet to see SUP number 2.
Well, we'll be there on the dock cheering them off and hopefully back on at Ketchikan.
Yes. And all of you in podcast land should know that you are more than invited to occupy that finish line dock in Ketchikan. I will be there. Maybe Chelsea and Mark will be there.
I'm looking for a boat to deliver back to Seattle, so hoping so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's another thing you can do, fans, is you can hang out in Ketchikan, and all of those wasted, tired teams that are all probably mad at each other because they spent too much time sweating in a confined space, they're going to need help getting their boats back south. So if you want to get a taste of the Inside Passage reverse, then that's a really good way to do it. Okay, Chelsea. Well, we're going to stack you up with a few more interviews, and maybe a couple episodes from now, we'll hear from you again.
Awesome, Jesse. Thank you, friend. Take care.
That's it for this first episode of the 2026 Race to Alaska podcast season. Please write to us at podcast@r2ak.com with any questions, any comments, any jokes, any insults you might have, either from myself, the race boss, or the racers that you're going to be hearing this season on the podcast. Race to Alaska is a project of Northwest Maritime. Please check us out online at nwmaritime.org. We'll see you next week.